Hey guys, good morning. Yes, it's morning here in San Diego. It is Big Man Comics Live, and I am just working on the Unstoppable Tyrus. That's what I'm doing here. Let me adjust this light here so this shadow will go away behind me. We are cruising. We're cruising at an altitude of this is page 35. Guys, it's amazing what you can do if you do your work every day. So yeah, we're still in the scene from yesterday. I hope everyone's doing good, by the way. Um, in the scene yesterday, outdoors, there's the mysterious orangutan. There's Tyrus. There's his former girlfriend, Cindy, who's now, she dumped him, but she has pity on him in this story. So it's going quite well. We're having a lot of fun here. I worked on some of this last night. I finished that page yesterday that I showed you guys, where he was holding up the car and all that. And then I started working on this. I did the top panel and the bottom panel last night. Took me about an hour and a half. Well, my granddaughter was watching The Little Mermaid from 1989 or 90. That's a classic to me. I was just a kid when that came out, and that was really inspirational for me. But I've been I'm going to do a YouTube video soon, probably later this afternoon, and post it about this U.S. AID stuff, this U.S. aid. I don't know if you're following American politics. Most of you are Americans, I assume, that watch this. But Elon Musk has been tasked by Donald Trump to basically cut the waste at the government, right? And there's an organization that I only found out a day before Elon revealed it. So I'm doing research for my book, military thriller Tripoli, and I looked up like some books written by private military contractors. These are like former soldiers who they go into the freelance world and they get hired by governments to go and do private military contracting. Some of it good, some of it bad. This guy that I'm reading his book, he was a former British Special Service, the SAS. Um, that's like the equivalent, I guess, of our Navy SEALs or our Delta Force or whatever that we have here. Some of the top level guys there in England. And he said, was talking about this and that and doing private security for wealthy people like Yemeni royalty and stuff. But he talked about when they rebuild nations that are destroyed or there's warfare, there was an American organization called USAID. And in the book, he says, yeah, we can call them up and get this and that and get a Dora the Explorer backpack for children and just all kinds of stuff. I'm like, oh, USAID, never really heard of that. I knew there was foreign aid, but I didn't know there was an official like office for this stuff. The next day, Elon Musk and his, early 20s, like computer engineering geniuses, reveal all kinds of waste that our government has been doing for decades through this thing called the USAID. And it's not aid like financial aid, it's international development. I don't remember what the A is for, but AID. And it's a grift. It's a slush fund for all the worst stuff you've ever heard of. It is our own money, our tax money, on an unlimited checkbook, apparently, to promote every fucking communist woke piece of shit thing you can think of. We are paying for our own destruction as Americans. And it's really sinister. Like there's stuff paid for with that I can't mention on YouTube because it has to do with the lockdown stuff like that. And China paid for to the tune of almost 40 million is what we know. But what fascinates me as an artist, as an entertainer, is that Politico is a left-wing rag, left-wing propaganda website. It's a media entity, right? In the old days, it would have been a magazine or a newspaper, but it's a media entity, Politico. They couldn't make their payroll this week. People started looking into this U.S. aid thing, and it turns out that, Politico got millions from the U.S. government. And it turns out the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, is that what the C is for? They got millions every year from USA, the American government. Reuters, the biggest newswire service in the world, allegedly independent, right? Millions. And then you see what they report, left-wing globalist things. They go after Trump, they go after Elon Musk, all this stuff. And you start to see that, this US aid was a slush fund for the globalists to push their agenda everywhere. A transgender comic book in Peru, a like transgender LGBT opera in Ireland. We're paying millions of dollars for these things, millions, to influence anti-American, anti-conservative, anti-Christian, anti-everything this country was founded on. We're paying for it with our taxes. It's outrageous. I'm glad they have suspended it. They sent an email to all the employees of USA, the fucking USA. These people think they're above the law. You know, there was a Joni Ernst is a senator, and she wanted to investigate this stuff a few years ago, and they threatened to sue her. Like, you're not going to look at our books. It's kind of like that thing with Hillary and her emails. Like, the emails of Hillary were so damning, and then they're like, the crime was, how dare you look at my emails? My wife and I constantly joke about this, like the husband or the wife cheating on each other. Like, you know, you get into your husband or wife's phone and they got a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever. It's like, how dare you break into my phone? Like, how could you break my trust and hack my phone? Like, is that really the problem here? Because the problem here is what you're up to. Not that anyone got Hillary's emails. That's not what the problem is. So hold on, let me check the chat. Welcome in Appropriately Spartan, Michael Coulter, Seth Sipe. Appropriately Spartan says, ooh, military interesting. You're gonna love Tripoli. It's a graphic novel. If you love 310 to Yuma, if you love Leon, the professional, because we have the dynamic of the former Delta Force guy who's now a private military contractor, saving the life of this little orphan boy in Tripoli, Libya, and it's heartbreaking. It's amazing, action-packed thriller, a military thriller with political intrigue at the highest levels and at the ground level too, of the militias and the terrorists and all that, and the lives of the soldiers and the political military contractors. I can't wait to work on this. I've written the script like 2 or 3 times. I'm listening to an audiobook. I told you about this British Special Forces guy that is a military contractor, so I can have a real deep understanding of how these things work, the lingo, the customs, the culture of these kind of people to do this, and then rewrite it again to make sure I get those little details correct about how this stuff works. So yeah, that's Tripoli. That's what I'll be working on after this book is finished being illustrated. The Unstoppable Tyrants. Look, this face is fantastic, by the way. I had a lot of fun inking that. Appropriately Spartan says, hey, since Biden administration put funding into comic books for their propaganda, do you think that the Republicans can take hold of the comic industry, or is that just non-existent? I don't want any political party taking hold of the comic book industry. Comic books are meant to entertain. You always are going to have a message, of course, because that's what media is. That's what art is. Self-expression is a message. It's my opinion, right? Hold on, I need a coffee sip. Let's do like a Scott Adams. If you guys have coffee and you want to have a sip, then go for it right now, because I'm going to have a sip right now, and this thing won't open. It won't open. I don't know what's wrong with it. I'll have to unscrew the lid. But the little snap part wouldn't open. I'm not sure. Oh, my God. Coffee. If you don't like coffee, you don't like yourself. I'm sorry. But no, I don't want any political whatever. It's like, I'm a Christian, but I don't want the government taking over the church, right? Because then they would make it a way that I don't believe in and force me to do it. I don't want the government taking over entertainment. It's self-expression art. It's why we have the First Amendment. The government's role in art is to defend the First Amendment and then stay out of it. That's their role. Stay out of it. We got the First Amendment. People want to make this. They want to make that. Of course, there are certain things you can't make because they're illegal and they're obscene, and I'm for censoring that. But very limited censorship, and only the most filthy, what kind of stuff that I won't mention has to be censored. And we already censor that stuff. But otherwise, the government's role in art is stay the F out of it. That's their role. Let's see. Michael Coulter, I'm just glad our boy Trump is back in there. Happy smaller life. I'm 46 years old. I think this is the first time in my life that, that since I've known about politics and kind of understood them as much as I do understand them, that we're on top now. The people, we're free. We actually have someone advocating for us. 2 of the richest men in the world, Trump and Elon, are doing this for sincere, good, moral reasons. They're not even taking salaries. This isn't benefiting Elon. Elon's the richest man in the world. He owns some of the most innovative and successful companies. He doesn't ever have to work again. He could just go around the world year-round on a yacht to wherever the good weather is, chase the good weather around the globe, and fill the deck of his yacht with supermodels. That's what he could do. And just whatever. It's too bad the American people are being ripped off and their boys are sent to die in fake wars. And yeah, it's sad, but I'm drinking frozen alcohol out of a coconut, and I've got some, triple D Instagram models on my lap here on my yacht. So it's all good for me. He could do that. I think a lot of wealthy people do not just wealthy, a lot of people do just indulge themselves as much as possible. And I think it's heroic. Their lives are in danger, I think, quite literally. I mean, we saw it. What happened to Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania? His life was seriously in danger. And if you think that's ended, you're kidding yourself. They're madder than ever. You're seeing in real time these government, in my opinion, allegedly, in my opinion, thieves, furious that Elon found their slush fund that was funding everything woke and evil. And it's not surprising that it was funding the Reuters, it was funding the BBC, it was funding Politico. There was, I think, Craig, my good friend from Side Scores, was talking about how there was like funding for like woke video games. I know woke comic books, and it's all just woke commie shit. Woke, commie. That's just, they use our money to do that, and it's insane. There's a thing with Politico, left wing, media pushers of all the left wing hoax bullshit, and they were collecting from this USAID thing over $500,000 for 37. That's not a word. 37 different people subscribing who worked at the FDA. So you're telling me that those subscriptions are about $12,000 a piece to subscribe to a website? I don't think that's how that works. But I guess there was a thing called Politico Pro or whatever, and then they charge that much. And you see how all this stuff works. Your commie buddy is a reporter at Politico. You are a commie and you work at USAID. You call them up on the phone and say, hey, I got some budget. I got some money to spend. What do you guys need to keep you floating? So the press, which I believe in, the press should be free, part of the First Amendment, is a propaganda mouthpiece for Joe Biden and the communists. That's what factually, looks like allegedly, was going on. I have to keep saying looks like allegedly was going on. That's what it looks like to me. And that's insane. Should people be allowed to publish left-wing propaganda and promote their communism? Yeah, unfortunately, it's part of the First Amendment. Should I be paying for it with my tax dollars? No. Again, the government's role in speech is to stay the hell out of the way. They are not allowed to push one ideology over another. And it is a violation of the First Amendment for them to pay for this. And you say, well, how? They're not suppressing speech. Yes, they are. When you push one kind of speech, and the understanding is if I give you this money, then you're going to say this thing that's my message, the leftist globalists, then you are necessarily preventing the opposing message or differing messages. So you are suppressing speech. Compelling speech is the same as oppressing it. It's just a different kind of way. But when you compel speech, so you tell people they have to say pronouns or they're fired, that's a violation of the First Amendment. You can't make me believe something or say something. How dare you? And to know that our money was being used with money from USAID, millions of dollars in Nepal to promote atheism. This stuff's insane when you look into it. It's just totally insane. Let's see. Seth Sipes starting off with a bang today, Gabe. Yeah, we are. Probably Spartan again. It feels more like a parent looking up their kid's phone and the kid getting angry. Same thing where someone gets in trouble because they have done something and then they're like indignant. To see, and it's funny, all the politicians and politically related people who are freaking out about Elon Musk is illegally blah blah blah. No, he's not. The chief executive, Donald J. Trump, who somebody tried to rub out. I don't know about that. Rub out. We don't know who, has the authority to tell Elon Musk, hey, review these things that are part of the executive branch, and then you give me the report, and I'll decide. Because they're saying Elon Musk is canceling this. He's not doing anything. He's just doing data analysis with some of the most brilliant, computer whizzes in the world. One of these kids is like 20, and he won part of a $700,000 prize in the last year or so for writing code and using some, I don't know, technological whatever to read ancient scrolls that had been burned in a fire. So the scroll was basically like a rolled up piece of carbon. It looked like charcoal that you would put on the grill. And he was able to write some code that used, I don't know, lasers or some sort of imaging technology to read this. He's one of the people digging through this. And they're going after the Department of Labor, the Department of Education, which please shut down the Department of Education as soon as possible. They're going to give us our money back, damn it. Stop stealing from us to promote your commie bullshit. That's enough. Yeah. How dare you notice what we're doing? Yeah, exactly. And if you weren't here like 10 minutes ago, it was like my wife and I have always joked about the Hillary Clinton emails of That's like a husband or wife getting caught cheating because the other one, the husband or the wife, looks through the cell phone. And instead of me apologizing to my wife for having a girlfriend, I go, "How dare you look through my phone and find my girlfriend? How can I even trust you if you're going to hack into my phone?" And I've been married 28 and a half years. And our policy, we don't, and it's not even a policy. We didn't sit down and discuss this. Just my stuff is unlocked, and for her, like, yeah, because I have my wife do stuff for me, like, oh, get into my email and check this for me, please, and this, that, and the other. And yeah, this is a weird thing to me that I believe is wrong. I actually believe it's morally wrong because of the persuasion it gives you subconsciously. When people are married and they have separate bank accounts, that's actually wrong. And I do speak with authority because I am in a blissful marriage for 28 years. So when someone succeeds at something for a very long time, they know how to do it. Okay. I'm not married for this long by accident. Okay. And that whole thing of like, well, she has her money and I have mine and I pay my half the rent and nope, that's not how that works. That is unloving. That is keeping your spouse at arm's length. And if you're doing it, you need to stop it because it shows a lack of trust. It shows a lack of full commitment. It shows selfishness of, well, there's still me. You get married, there's no you. There's us. Okay? There's us, and that's the end of it. Okay? It's one flesh you become. So yeah, I've always kind of been, I've always been disgusted when I hear people are married and they have their own accounts, and then I'll give him my half of the mortgage, and then what are you talking about? You sleep in separate bedrooms too? Like, you're one flesh, you're one person. So yeah, I don't go for that. I think it's unloving and low class. Seth Sipe says, why do you think franchises decided to make things so political? What's the reason? Every person is a mix of values. That's what makes good art. So why be so political when it detracts us? Well, there's been studies of this concept called theory of mind, right? Theory of mind is, how does X group think? People who are non-woke, conservative, we can accurately write down, here is how woke people think. And you can look up this research yourself. When you ask woke people how conservative people like myself are, they write down that they are Nazi, racist, bigot, homophobes. They literally don't understand any opinion but their own. They really think we are the good guys. Not we, the conservatives. The woke think we are the good, the holy, the perfect. We're the smartest. Look at me, how great I am. And because I am perfect and know everything, this is logical, but it's incorrect. But the logic is solid, but it's just based on a false premise. So the whole thing is wrong. If I am perfect and I know everything, and if I am perfectly moral and good because I love illegal immigrants and gays and women, the disabled, then anyone who disagrees or questions me, well, if what I believe is good, then they have to be evil. So it's like, you see why conservative people, we can work with liberals. Like, we can work at the companies and we can hear them say political things and be irritated, but we leave them alone. But as soon as we say something, they want to cancel. And it's because they quite, in a literal sense, believe that it's evil what we're doing. They can't comprehend it. You don't want to lock down because you want to kill grandma. I mean, like, think about that concept for a minute. It's ludicrous. But it's all the starting place for their premise. The premise is, I am perfect and perfectly moral, and I also know everything. That's the premise, and that's why it's not working.
Something went wrong.
So why are you talking to me, Syrian? Who told you to listen to me? So that's what that is, that intolerance they have. It's extreme narcissism. Now, the leftism that you see today, the insane progressivism, it comes from a lack of fathers. Okay, when you don't have a father, you don't have self-esteem. Your mother cannot give you self-esteem. Only your father can give it to you. Your mother cannot. And this is like gravity. This is a law of the universe. Your mother can't give you self-esteem. Okay, don't question me. Don't disagree with me, because you're wrong. And you want to know how I know you're wrong if you disagree? Look at the world. Look at places where we don't have fathers. As a cultural thing. The Mexican barrio, the black ghetto, the poor white trailer park, all the divorce. And then you get people who are angry, out of control, right? Again, I've done scientific research on this. I wrote a huge research paper about this 20 years ago in college. My parents were divorced when I was little, and I didn't have my dad around after my 8th birthday, and I didn't see him much before that anyway. And I had a horrific anger problem. Rage, not anger. Rage is the angriest you can be. Rage is the emotion of destruction. Rage is the emotion of murder, kill, destroy. Rage is I hate that thing, that person, that concept, that idea, destroy it. That's what rage is. And pretty much every boy, there's scientific research going back decades that shows us if you didn't have your father around, you have rage. You have a rage problem that you need to deal with. And I dealt with it. God's delivered me from that. But here's where the wokeism comes from not having a dad. If you don't have a dad, you won't have internal validation. I like me. I think I'm good. I'm not perfect. And I don't have self-esteem problems where I need external validation, where I need to virtue signal and say and do things and pretend I believe things so you will validate me. Your validation is not there when you're little yet because you need people to take care of you. You're dirty, you need to be changed. You're hungry and crying, they need to feed you. All this stuff, right? When that doesn't happen when you're little correctly, then you feel bad about yourself. There must be something wrong with you because when you're little, you just see yourself as the cause of everything. You blame yourself that, oh, dad wasn't around, he didn't come to baseball games, this and that, because of me. I was unlovable to him. That's how your little child brain interprets it. And it's not your brain's fault when you're, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. When you're a little kid, you don't know any better than to think things like that. And it's wrong, but it's what the default is in your head because you are the only thing in your universe when you're little and everything happens because of you. That's the way small children, their psychology works. So your dad left and you were abandoned and ignored by him because you're unlovable is what you do in your head. So you're never validated. What will validate you is your father, not your mother, your father's time. Because your mother's love is very important, very precious, but it's cheap. And it's cheap because it's plentiful. Anything that isn't rare, we don't value it. And look at your mother, how she loves you. She just can't stop. Mama's baby, and you're perfect. And that's a good thing that women are wired that way. It is a necessary thing that children need, but they need the second kind of love from dad, where dad looks at you and says, hey, Seth Sipe, we're Sipes, and we don't do that bullshit. You're better than that. I know it. You're way better than that. Now show me what you can really do. Moms don't do that to you. And when they try and do it, it falls flat because it's not their nature. It's like a woman wearing a mustache. You're like, that doesn't look right. That looks weird. So you have to have that fatherly male influence, and it can be mitigated by a good grandfather, a good uncle, maybe some good sports coaches. But that message that you didn't matter to your father, it devastates people's lives. And this is who the leftists are. They hate their father because he hurt them so badly. It's hurt is what it really is, and the hurt has turned into hate. Okay. And then the way your parents treat you when you're little, you then assume that about the rest of the world. Okay, so if your parents make you feel worthless, your father makes you feel worthless and hated, then you will go out into the world and be like, well, my dad never helped me or took care of me, therefore everyone else is like my dad and hates me and won't take care of me or support me and blah blah blah. And you know what I mean. And that's where a lot of that bitterness and resentment come from. And you have to get over things like that. You can't, your parents are not going to come back and fix it. It's too late. You're an adult now. It's your responsibility. This is such an injustice, but it's real. And you got to deal with life and deal with reality in reality's terms. Your parents may screw you over when you're little. You have to fix it as an adult. There's no going back to them and making them fix it. That's absurd and it's never going to happen. And you have to just get over shit like that. And it sucks. It really sucks because it really hurts. And that's what so many people are suffering from. So the leftists, they don't have any natural self-esteem where they like themselves and like others. They have this really hurt psychology where it's like, dad never loved me, didn't come to the football games, didn't do this, didn't do that. I mean, mom was there, but mom's everywhere all the time, right? Mommy loves me no matter what. But the one who I had to earn, I couldn't earn it because I wasn't good enough. That's how you feel about it. So then you spend the rest of your life trying to fill that hole with external validation, and then you become woke. Hey everyone, I'm a feminist. Hey everyone, I think illegal immigrants should get free everything. You say those things not because you mean them, and you might mean them consciously, but subconsciously you don't mean it. You're saying it because it's the right thing to say, and then it gets you that praise and love and that big hug your father never gave you. That's where virtue signaling and this weird leftism comes from. There's a reason they say smash the patriarchy. I've been over this many times when I talk to people about this. Patriarchy, the Latin word pater, means father. Now think about people whose fathers have wronged them by abandoning them, divorce, whatever happened. And maybe the dad wasn't even at fault. Maybe the dad died. Maybe the mom was crazy and a bitch and left the dad. But when the dad is removed from the equation, this is what happens to people psychologically. The good news is it can be fixed. Hard work, prayer, and all that. You can come out of it. It's not a life sentence. It's not a life sentence of feeling worthless because your dad wasn't there. You can survive it and you can fix it, but you have to do it. There is no time machine to go back and play ball in the yard with your dad. It's over. You're not going to go in a time machine and, oh, he'll be there this Christmas. I just know it. That's like, it's gone, and you just have to, like, tough shit, dude. Bad things happen to everybody. Be grateful for the good things instead of focusing on the bad things. And it's okay that it hurts. But when you have negative feelings that are trying to tell you to do a bad thing, have your negative feelings, but don't do the bad thing your negative feelings are telling you to do. Become an observer of your feelings. Go, wow, I'm really mad about that. I'm really hurt, or I'm really whatever. Why? Why am I thinking it? Why am I feeling this way? What is pushing me to believe these sort of things, or want to do that, or be self-destructive, or be mean to this guy, or whatever? Like, what's going on there? You gotta ask yourself these questions. So an unexamined life is not worth living, right? That's what I've heard. And I talked about, like, intelligence yesterday, and the big sign of intelligence to me is have this phrase as I hate the word mantra because new age weirdos ruined it. Have this phrase as a mantra ringing in your head all day. What don't I know? What don't I know? What don't I know? What don't I? Because I don't care how smart you are. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. Everything I'm telling you right now, I can be totally wrong about it and find out, like 6 months from now, I do some more reading and research and some more living and find out just how wrong I am about everything I'm saying. So you're always refining your knowledge. You're always like, well, what don't I know? What don't I know? And trying to, I don't like that. Trying to find out more. So, but yeah, that's where my theory of where all the leftism is coming from. It's we've tried to run society without the fatherly love and influence for 50 something years, and it don't work. This boob's too high. I gotta move this one down slightly. Yeah, there we go. We've tried to run society for a long time without the father being there. And it's stupid because we already knew it was good to have the father and the mother. We knew through the trial and error of, human civilization. And, we've been new, as I heard someone say once. So yeah, it's that's where I think the leftism, the virtue signal, all that, and you look at what they do, and it's obvious to me they hate their fathers. But again, it isn't truly hatred. It's hatred. It's hurt. It's not hate. Seth said, applause. My dad adopted my cousin. His nephew, cousin's father is awful. My dad literally gave him self-esteem, and my cousin broke the cycles of his family. He's now married with kids now. Yep, that's it. Fathers are the key to everything. There's more scientific research that shows if a father has a religion and he practices the religion and then takes his family to church, the kids have like 90% chance of being that religion. If the father's not there, it's like, single digit chance. If the mother is the one that takes everyone to church and pushes it, it doesn't work either. So there's a reason we call it patrimony, right? Your cultural patrimony, your heritage, your identity comes from your father. Your being comes from your mother. She makes you in her belly and pushes you out. Done. That's it, right? Then once you're out, it's, breastfeeding, nurturing, all the little stuff to get you going. Mama gets you going. And then when you're ready to become a man, to become a girl, to become a woman, that's dad's job. That's what dad does. And we've known this as humans forever. Look at the Jewish people have the bar mitzvah at like age 12. Look at I saw an African tribe. They take the boys off once they're 11 or 10 or 11. Okay, boys, enough mama. You're coming to the jungle for a week and we're going to, kill a big animal and do all this dangerous stuff, and then we're going to sit around the fire at night and tease people and this and that, and it's initiation. And we no longer have initiation in culture. We just have eternal children. We have people who are my age, 46 years old, and their biggest interest is their Funko Pop collection. Like, come on. Try and picture your World War II veteran grandfather like worried about Funko Pops, and there has to be a line of delineation between being a boy and then a man. And that only comes from the father. It does not come from the mother. And there's a very good reason why. I don't speak Chinese or Mandarin, right? Or Cantonese or Mandarin, the main languages in China. I don't speak those. I think I know of like 3 words in those languages. So how good of a teacher would I be to teach Mandarin? I'd be one of the worst, right? I'd be as bad as anyone else who didn't understand those languages. How much time has a woman spent being a man? How could my mother ever teach me how to be a man? It's like me teaching Chinese. My mother doesn't know how to be a man. She isn't one. She'll never be one. Then you wonder why we have a generation of lost boys. They don't have dads. And then every fucking place they go, they're told being a man is wrong. Oh, you like sexy women. You're a pervert. You want to be roughhousing with your buddies. You're violent and toxic. Every single thing is coming from a weak, hysterical woman's perspective. You see little kids, dad will grab them by the armpits when they weigh 30 pounds, throw them in the air 10 feet and then catch them. And the kid's screaming and the kid's having the time of their life. What does mom always say? Careful, careful. And that isn't wrong for mom to say that. That's her job. It's dad's job to go far and mom's job to rein him in. Men and women are sexually dimorphic physically, but also mentally, and we complement each other. And I hate that I'm even like talking about this, because to me this shit's so obvious. But we have all these decades now of leftism and postmodernism pushed by things like USAID that I was talking about at the beginning of the show, where they just tell you that these traditional roles or whatever are just wrong. They're just sexist or whatever bullshit they're trying to say. And it's a bunch of people who hate their dads. They act like Lisa Simpson. I always hated Lisa Simpson. She's just like a bitch for no reason. But I remember there was that episode where everyone was having fun playing Pop Warner football, and Lisa wasn't involved, and she was so mad. And she shows up at the park in like a helmet and shoulder pads, and she tells the coach, it's Flanders, so I bet you didn't think a girl could play football. He's like, no way, neighborino. We've already got 3 girls on the team. Welcome in. And as soon as he welcomes her in, she doesn't want to play. She doesn't want to play anymore. And that's how I see them. It's like a rebel without a clue, a rebel without a cause. So hold on one second here. Let me look at the chat real quick. Michael Coulter, Gabe, the Spartans should take their boys and train them at age 8 to be warriors. Yes. And Michael Coulter, you can just safely assume every culture on earth did this. They understood this, that it's time for you to learn to be a man. I grew up in it. I thank God I'm Gen X. That is the best generation to have grown up in, to still understand like traditional values, because even though many of us didn't have fathers because divorce started exploding in the 70s and in the 70s, we still lived in a culture that said men are men, women are women, and masculinity is a real thing. And it's okay to love sexy women. It's okay to be a tough macho guy. It's okay to love your country and your family and God. It was okay to be a man. And the generations after us got more and more and more feminized and more vilification of masculinity. So they don't even have a clue about it. But yeah, every culture was like, no, it's time to be a man now. I've had a job since I was 12. That's weird when you talk to millennials and Generation Y or whatever these new generations are called. They don't have jobs. They don't get their driver's license. They don't want to like grow up. I started mowing yards on the weekends, and not 3 yards. My brother, my cousin, myself, and one other guy, 4 of us, we'd mow 30 to 40 yards on Saturday and then a couple on Sunday if we didn't finish Saturday. It was an all-day job, 7 a.m. to like 7 p.m. in the California sun to make money. I got $4 an hour to do it. And I was happy to do it. I learned to work very hard when I was a young man. I worked at my grandparents' tortilla factory. We'd go there at 6 a.m. to make the dough, a couple 100 pounds of dough. Then we'd go home and my grandmother had breakfast ready. So my grandfather, my brother, and I'm 11 or 12. My brother's a year older. We go with my grandpa, who's in his 70s, go make all the dough. Then we come home for an hour and have breakfast and stuff. The dough proofs a little bit. And then we go back and make tortillas until 1 p.m, And that was 11, 12 years old. I learned to work and it's not scary. It's not weird. It wasn't too hard. It's like, this is life. We work. I remember my uncle was talking to my brother and about work, and in the Bible, God creates Adam, and then he gives him the garden to tend and the animals to name and take care of and this and that. And then he gives him Eve later. And my uncle pointed out that the first thing God gave Adam was work. That was so men must work. There's a French saying, Men must do, women must be. You know, as men, we only feel good when we accomplish things. When we grit our teeth and we sweat and we bleed, and then job well done. You feel so good. It's your purpose. You are a living machine as a man. You're here to chop trees, catch and kill animals, and turn them into food. You're here to do things, right? That's what we're here to do. It's our purpose. You're not here to jerk off and play video games all day and drink a bunch of Mountain Dew. That's not why you're here. That is to that's to numb your brain, that stuff, that the weed and all the endless Netflix. That's to make you ineffective, because effective people are a threat to the powers that be. You see Elon Musk and his engineers, what they're doing at USA, those are effective people. Those are masculine men who get things done. Men get things done, boys don't, right? And that's the line. Because when we're turning a boy into a man, that's what we're doing. We're teaching him, okay, you're going to go into the world and affect it. Change things, conquer things, overcome things, discover things, fight enemies that are evil. You do things. You don't sit there and go, "Won't somebody do something?" You can do that if you're a woman. You can do that if you're a little boy. But once you're a man, it's like, if not me, who? If not now, when? Right? That's that old saying, ascribed to many different people. I don't know who actually said it, but that saying is very famous. So big coffee slurp. Sorry. Yeah, good coffee. But yeah, we got to bring that back. And it's insane to me that our government was paying people to fight against that. It's totally insane. So this right here is the Unstoppable Tyrus. This is like page 35, illustrated by Akeon, the pencils, and then the illustration of the inks is being done by me. So, but yeah, this is what I've been working on today. I've got a lot done. I just have this one panel. Just this empty spot here needs to be done with him holding this boulder over his head here. So yeah, it's going really well. I'm having a lot of fun. And Empyrean is my sci-fi book, and that I feel like this boob needs a shadow here, but not to touch the other part. We'll figure it out. That book, I'm having a phone meeting with the colorist. I decided not to color that book so I could work on this one more, illustrating it. There, that's better. That's better. Around 3 Pacific, I'm meeting with the colorist on a phone conference, so we could discuss the progress on that, because it's almost done. And I want you guys to get it for sure. You're going to love it. Again, these woke weirdos, they ruined Star Wars, but make it all crappy and woke. And I fixed it, you know. In fact, I'm going to go fetch some of the Empyrean art, some of the latest art that I haven't shown anyone. And I'll bring up a page or two online. So we're hoping to finish the colors by Valentine's. I'm going to get that update today. And after I get that update, I'll send out a newsletter, because I have thousands and thousands of people on my newsletter. I'll send that out and let people know what I have discovered as far as what's going on with the schedule here. Let's see. Date modified. Okay. We'll download these. So let's take a look at these. Sorry. I'm just going to download some stuff. These look great. New colors. You guys really matching my style. That's a good thing. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and download those real quick, and I'll show you those. But Empyrean, it's action, science fiction, but it's got a real heart, and it has family values, which I'm always talking about: husbands and wives and children. The main characters, Oliver and Elvira, they do have 2 kids, and they're she discovers some stuff. She's a scientist for the government on this planet, right, on the kingdom of Solus, and what she discovers is that things are not as they seem. Right, you have this benevolent leader that's providing all the food and shelter and prosperity for the people, but really it's a dictator, and you better not step out of line, sort of like the communist governments. And there's long been rumors of this ancient hidden paradise world that they could go to instead of this other world. It's very dangerous and stuff like that, and deadly. And she has found information on it, and someone is trying to sabotage her from declaring if this is real or not. So I'm going to show you a little bit of it right here. Share screen. Entire screen, this screen. I'm not going to explain what the pages are. I'm just going to show art, because I do want to keep as much a secret as possible. But it is, it's gorgeous artwork. You know, it's really nice stuff, beautifully colored. I mean, this is as good, better than anything Marvel and DC's putting out. It is. I mean, I worked there forever. Like, I know what I know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm doing. I do have to draw another cover for this very soon, because my buddy Akeon, he drew the one cover, this cover, but it is my book and I am the publisher. So I give myself the right to draw a cover. I declare that I get to do a cover. And that's a great thing about being the boss, is you can just say, nah, I'm going to do a cover because I want to, because I'm the boss. But here's you got your classic flying cars going through a chase scene in a big city. That's a really exciting scene. Let's see what else. I'm not going to explain who anyone is or what the hell's going on, but yeah, it's a lot of fun what we have coming up. A lot of fun. So there's some stuff I'm working with the colors, like the red and the blue, but then I kind of like the orange and stuff like that. And you don't need to worry about who that is, but it's really, really good stuff. It's really fun. Look at that. Look how gorgeous that is. Let's zoom way in. Let's zoom way in. Right? Look at this robot here fighting another robot. Won't say who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. That guy's getting dental work done by boot. Yeah, that guy's blasting him in the face. But we're having a lot of fun. This is a very exciting comic, masterfully illustrated by Akeon, colored by me, and then two other guys coloring. So we're having a good time. Oh, that guy's teleporting this ship here. Again, not going to explain the story to you, but you're going to absolutely love this. So this is more info at bigmancomics.com. We're going to be putting this for crowdfund, hopefully this spring. Meet with my colors guy today. I'm trying to work out a distribution deal with a third party, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, it's going to be really good. So dental work done by Boot. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it is. He, it looked like he's doing a dental extraction right there. So, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this thing. It's a blast to work on. Andy Contreras, hail Gabe. Hail Gabe, hail chat. Cooking some quesadillas while listening. Ooh, quesadilla sounds good to me. My brother loved quesadillas when we were little. I was partial to the taco as a little boy. And what's my favorite Mexican food? I mean, in Southern California, in San Diego, we have the absolute best Mexican food. It doesn't get better. It just doesn't. And I fasted for 45 hours straight. I fast occasionally. It's a religious thing and a health thing. And I made it from Sunday night to last night. So I got on my phone and did the math. I did it like 45 hours straight. And it was good. It was good to make it that far. But I broke my fast with a carne asada burrito. So that's a flour tortilla and then like just chopped marinated meat. And it's marinated in a little bit of lemon, garlic, onion, salt, pepper. A pretty basic marinade, but it comes out really super nice and juicy. And in a nice toasty tortilla, they toast the tortilla on the plancha or the comal. That would be the big, like the big fry table where they're making the burgers at the restaurant. And then a little guacamole. I get it without pico de gallo. I hate pico de gallo. Pico de gallo is chopped onion, tomato, and cilantro. I like all those things, just not in the big old chunks like that. I like I like my salsa like a sauce. I don't want there to be any tomato chunks or onions or anything like that. I love everything made of tomatoes, but I don't like tomatoes themselves just chunky because the texture is gross to me. It's too gloopy. Feels like you're eating a caterpillar or an eyeball or something. It's pretty gross to me, a tomato, but it's absolutely delicious. So we find a way. We find a way to eat tomato by grinding it up, right? By putting it in the mixer. So what time is it? It's after 11. So I'm gonna go in just a little bit here. I actually think I need to go now, and because I'm gonna take lunch at noon as I always do. Oh wait, no. I've only been going for 45 minutes. I'll do the hour. I'll go to 11:15. So I only use one pen when I ink, right? Because I want it to look as like real inks as possible. I don't want it to look like I did it digitally. Okay. I want this to look like I did it with the pen and the pencil because that's how I prefer to draw. I've shown you this before. Here's an unused cover for Tyrus. This is real Bristol board, real pen, real ink. And I mean, you can see some of the super fine details, like on the knuckles. Those are all little individual lines. This is a cover I did like 2-3 months ago. The likeness isn't there in the face, but everything else is great. But I'm doing this one digitally for the sake of schedule, but I don't want it to look digital. So I don't like to use any texture brushes. You know what I mean? Brushes that, except for one brush I made, which is just some ovals that change kind of size and shape. And that is to quickly do leaves on trees. So if I push hard, I'll get these big things. And if I push softly, I'll get these. But it's just because I could sit there and dot these in one by one by myself, but that's going to take forever, right? And so I was like, okay, I'll use a brush that isn't me just doing it one at a time. But this is the only brush I use besides the regular inking brush. So that's a little behind the scenes there. So I'd be curious to know if any of you guys are artists or anything like that, because I know you're interested in art and pop culture and entertainment and all that. And I'd also be interested to know if you guys are into politics the way I'm, like this USAID thing that I was talking about, where it was paying, I believe, I'm no lawyer, but I'm a smart cookie. I believe that's illegal what they're doing. I believe it's fraud. It's definitely unethical and immoral. It might not be illegal, but holy crap, that's terrible what they were doing. Using our tax money for this unlimited slush fund to pay for media that fought the interest of American culture, that fought against us. Like, what in the hell? Like, how can they do that? So you see how much faster that was to do the tree that way, right? And what you can do is you could use that same brush as an eraser and then erase out some leaves. Isn't that interesting, right? And that creates an even crazier texture there. So yeah, that's how I like to do that. But then I just go back to the normal brush for everything else. It's not a brush, it's a pen. So, but yeah, I want this stuff to look as handmade as possible, because it is handmade. I am currently drawing it, but and I do kind of lament not doing this on paper, because then there won't be original pages of this book. That sucks to me, but I'm willing to do it this way for the sake of the schedule, because I don't want to put out one book a year. You know what I mean? I want to put out more entertainment, because I have so many ideas, and they're good ideas, and I want to get them to you guys. So in the future, with more support and all that, which I totally appreciate you guys' support, I'll be able to hire more illustrators, and it won't just be me and Akeon. You know what I mean? Right now, I've got a couple colors I use. I had to free myself from coloring, because frankly, I've done too much of it over the years at Marvel and DC and all those companies, and it's a little boring to me to color. But it's too time consuming. If I was coloring like Empyrean or the Tyrus book, it just sets things back by literal months. So I don't want to do that. Let's see. Seth said, I'm an artist. That's awesome, man. Andy Contreras, I love sketching and drawing in my art books, but he's in no way in the league that you are in. I will work on improving my skills this year, but personally, he doesn't strive to become an artist for hire. Oh, you know what? You don't have to get paid to enjoy art, man. I made art for, my whole life until I became a professional in 2000. So I was 22, but I made art every day before that for free, right? And because I love it and I need to make it. It's important to me to make. Now, the reason you become a professional artist is because you got to do something for a living, and if your day is going to be filled with doing something and you want to do art all day, then the only way to do that is to be a pro. Because if I had to go to a different job, just a totally different field, and do that, 8 hours a day, and then come home and try and get any art done, it would be very hard schedule wise. So, that's the main reason I want to be a professional artist, is to bring joy to people's lives, entertain them, hopefully influence them with a good message of heroic stuff and good ideas and good morals to, let them have fun while they learn a good lesson. And, but also so I can do it, because I just couldn't love drawing more. I just love it. And I always have. So this is, being a professional lets me do it all day. This is what I do all day, pretty much. I go into my garage office early in the morning, and I don't come out of there till the night sometimes. I'll come out for obviously for lunch, or I take exercise walks. I lift weights in here too. I have a big squat rack and a weight set in here. And but yeah, I love drawing. I love it for the sake of art. Needing to be paid is just one of those realities of life, that you have to, okay, I got to be paid to do this, so I guess I'll do it for a living. Matt, what if you print a digitally inked version of the page, a real page size, and lightbox ink over it to sell as original page? It's worth it to sell. And then he says, I've thought of that. The only hindrance to that is time. If I did that, I would use some sort of thing that was official. Maybe there's companies that make it official, or there's a way to do it myself. What I would do is I would legally verify this is one of one, that I'm going to print this Tyrus page once, and I'm going to ink it once, and then we'll number it, we'll sign it and sell it. And then that would be an original, Yeah, I could print these inks that I finish, print them super light blue, and then ink it over, like trace my work by hand, and then have it officially like notarized, or whatever you do for the collector market. Say, no, I only printed this once, and this was it. Yeah, I'm interested in things like that, but there are 24 hours in a day. right? So how do you do that while you're writing? Because like, oh, I'm only writing 5 books this year. Well, they're 6 issues a piece is how long my books are. So I'm really writing 30 issues of comics this year. Because I was like, what's taking you so long is what I was asking myself the other day. I'm like, you're only doing 5 graphic novels is what you're trying to get done this year. It's only 5 comics. And I thought about it, I was like, that's not 5 comics. That's 30 comics, dude. So I feel better once I realize that yeah, 120 page books, a 120 page book, if a comic is 20 pages, that's a 6 issue thing. So, that's what you're getting from me. That's why I think it's a fair price for me to charge $35 for something like this, because I'm not giving you 48 pages for $35. I do think that's a ripoff. I'm giving you a 6 issue series, and I couldn't tell this story in 22 pages like a normal issue of Batman. I couldn't do that. That's way too short. I write the Hollywood 3-act structure, the hero's journey. That's what I write. So, that's how I like to write stories. I like to write things that feel just like Raiders of the Lost Ark and the original Star Wars, the original ones, the good ones. So, yeah. But yeah, that's why I think it's a value, at that price, because you are getting the highest quality stuff and you're getting a huge story. You're not going to read this in 10 minutes. You're going to be reading this for a while, and you're going to go back to it and read it over and over. I'm not trying to be mean or insulting, but a lot, writers know they can't draw because they look at the paper. Not all writers. I'm a writer and I can draw. But many writers, they cannot draw, but they're aware because they have eyes, right? One of the problems in indie comics, and I hate calling this out, but we got to be honest, a lot of the artists don't know they can't write. Writing is one of the things where people really delude themselves. They really just they think they're a good writer because it's in their head and it feels good. And it's like, yes, your imagination feels perfect. Everyone has good ideas. Everyone is capable of that. And actually it's pretty easy to have good ideas. That's not what writing is. Writing is executing those ideas in a way that I am able to get the pure essence of that idea from my brain to yours. That's the skill of writing. And most people don't have that skill because it's a hard-fought skill. You can't just do that. You have to learn to do it. Of course, there's innate abilities. Some people are more linguistically inclined. They're naturally better with language and words, naturally better at speaking and expressing themselves. Sure, there's people that have advantages, but it is still a skill to write. There is still story structure, characterization, understanding, because there are people that can write flowery words, but they can't put the structure of the story together correctly. And then there's plot holes and things contradict. But a huge problem I see in the indie scene is a lot of people are like, this is Captain Blastoff and blah, blah. And if that's a real book, didn't mean it. I was trying to make up a name. This is Captain so-and-so. And here's my idea about the time traveling Tyrannosaurus and the evil whatevers. And it sounds so cool in that person's head. And then they deliver it. And it's a piece of crap that's boring and uninteresting. And, I wouldn't tell any of my colleagues that they're a bad writer, that I think are bad writers, unless they asked. Because that's really going to hurt their ego, and it's unsolicited advice. And I find that unsolicited advice is oftentimes not welcome when it's that personal. But yeah, if you told someone, yeah, dude, you're not a writer, you need to hire a writer. You better be. They better have asked. They better have had asked you if you tell them something like that. Seth Stipe says he wrote a 130-page graphic novel for the first time. Then he realized that he needed to beat sheet a saga before he continued. How do you write a saga? Well, how do you eat a horse? Horse is huge. How do you eat it? One bite at a time, right? So everything is just one Lego stacked on another Lego. Everything in life. If you want to be the world's greatest bodybuilder, the world's richest man, anything you want to achieve is just one grain of sand at a time. So you do things that lead to that goal. If you wanted to get from San Diego to Chicago, you just follow the road that leads there, and then eventually you'll be there, right? So if you say, well, how do I write a saga? What is the road to a saga? The road to a saga are the skills that build it. All the little Legos, all the little steps to Chicago. That's how you do it. Well, what are they? Well, look at people that have written a saga. Look at sagas and then reverse engineer it backwards. There's a great book by a screenwriter, rest in peace, Blake Snyder, called Save the Cat. If you want to know how to write a Hollywood 3-act hero's journey, buy Save the Cat. He breaks it down in this like you're 5 years old. He breaks it down in the simplest terms. Get Joseph Campbell's A Hero with 1,000 Faces. And then William Bernhardt's The Red Sneaker Writers workbooks or whatever. He's written about 15 books, and they're all about one book about story structure, one book about plot, one book about characterization, one book about sizzling dialogue, and they're like 3-hour audiobooks, so you can get the printed books if you want. And he goes into and he's a New York Times best-selling crime fiction author. I've listened to his audiobooks countless times while I was working for DC, like coloring. I've always been naturally inclined to language. I was in the gifted and talented program when I was a very little kid for language. My daughter's a stand-up comedian. She's brilliant. My uncle was a lawyer, a great speaker. My dad can just tell jokes off the cuff. My brother can do it. My cousin can do it. So there's a genetic component to being linguistically kind of inclined like I am. But don't let that hold you back if you're not. You can learn all of this stuff. You really can. I embraced it because I was naturally good at it. I embraced the whole writing thing because I really enjoyed it. But if you want to write stories, you can't just, well, I had an idea about vampires, but they're secretly running a sandwich shop and nobody knows. And like, okay, you could write a good story about that. You could write a good story about any concept if you're a good writer. Because you could ask me, well, can you draw a good picture of X? I could draw a good picture of anything if I can draw. So it isn't so much what your concept is, it's can you actually write? The act of writing and getting your idea, making it interesting, making it compelling, and making it have a point. One thing about all art is its patterns. And that's what a plot hole is. It's you're breaking the pattern of logic. So William Bernhardt, Red Sneaker Writers, Blake Snyder, Save the Cat, Joseph Campbell, I would start there. And then read your favorite authors and see, oh, he did this. I like that. He pulled off this trick. It's like when you're a young artist, you're tracing drawings, you're looking at drawings. In college, in any decent art school, they'll have you copy masters' paintings like Raphael or Leonardo. They'll have you actually look at a good painting, pick one, and copy it. Hunter S. Thompson, the crazy gonzo reporter and author, he sat and wrote I think Moby Dick. He sat Moby Dick next to his typewriter and got his typewriter and typed Moby Dick word for word. Not because he was going to publish his own Moby Dick, because he can't. He said he wanted to know what it felt like to write that. If you wanted to be a football player, you would be very, very smart to copy Patrick Mahomes. Copy him. Watch his football video and then copy what he does. Copy his diet. Copy his weightlifting. Copy his mental attitude. Copy the people that are doing what you want to do. Don't copy it and then sell it as your own. Copy their skills and then make your own. But you can't do something if you don't know the recipe. So the recipe is, okay, here's what they did. That's less important than how they did it. And the doing is those little grain of sand every day. One more. And you will only succeed with consistency over time. That is my message for the day. Guys, hit the like, hit the share, all the links in the description. If any of you out there right now don't have Dean Cain All-American Lawman, I want you to go get it right now. I'm 100% serious. Go to my website, bigmancomics.com. You're not going to find a better graphic novel. You're not going to find that right now in the indie scene. And honestly, in the mainstream scene, you're just not going to find it. We put everything into this. Dean Cain, myself, and Akion, we absolutely blew it out of the water for you with this. It's a fantastic book. Everyone that has it absolutely loves it. It's action adventure. It's Indiana Jones. It's James Bond. It's Lethal Weapon. It's everything you want, and it's masterfully illustrated. I'll bring up a picture here. I want you to go get it now, really. I think it's $35. The signed edition is $50, but I only have like 10 of those left on the website. And the first printings that I have here, they're let me bring that up. Hold on. We only have a few of these left. I have like 200 of these left. The first printing, and it says first printing inside. Printed in the USA, by the way. And go get it. If you don't have this right now, go get it. You will love it. It'll be a delight and you'll get it in just a few days. This stuff ships fast. It's in stock. I have it right here. I will pack it myself. If I see your order this afternoon, I'll pack it this afternoon and take it to the post office. So go get it right now, and you will absolutely love it. So yes, all you don't have this, go get it now. Follow me on X. I am Big Man Comics on X. Everywhere else, I am Gabe Eltaeb, and here's how you spell that. ELTAEB. Do not flip the last two letters. Don't make it BE. It's EB. And that's who I am on Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube. Share this. Before we go, I need you to do one thing. Get your index finger, pull it out of your nose, touch your phone right now, share. Okay, you did that? Okay, or your mouse on your PC or your Mac. You should have a Mac, not a PC. Hit share. Did we all hit share? Share this. Twitter, Facebook, share it. Do you do it? Finger out of the nose, finger on the share button, share. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.